and salutations, guys. Welcome back to Stoffel Presents Play Expo Blackpool. Now, this is a little something. If you harken back to my previous life over at Clubbit, you might recognise Ben here. This is Ben from Leda Entertainment with Bullion.
Yep, or to give it its full title, Bullion, the Curse of the Cutthroat Cattle.
Now, we met you 3 years ago, I think it was.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah,
It wasn't quite that long.
Yeah, Play Expo Manchester.
That's right, yeah.
We've just seen Bullion again today. It's changed quite a bit.
Well, that Play Expo was sort of like its second outing. So we'd done a show in Margate 6 months prior to that, to the Play Expo, and we'd found a few little problems. So there was a big frantic rebuild going on, and then obviously Play Expo came up, and we then worked like crazy to just get something ready. But we still had just the same content to work with, so we had just the first island, one playable character, a skeleton for the second island, lots of placeholder imagery and enemies. Fast forward 2 years, we've now got our first boss battle. We've got all the placeholders removed. We've got the second island finished off with its own enemies and its boss battle in build. We've got 2 new playable characters with 2 more on the way. We're making good progress.
So do you want to jump back a bit? Because you've made a lot of progress. We'll just jump back a little bit to explain what Bullion is.
Okay, so
I know this is a fun bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bullion, we kind of wanted to harness sort of like some of the spirit of Mario Kart and Bomberman, you know, that sort of social, local multiplayer feel. But also at the same time, multiplayer couch co-op is a big thing. So we thought, well, can we blend the two? Can we kind of find a gameplay mechanic that kind of, you need to be cooperative, but also you're going to be competitive? And that's what we've kind of worked to in Bullion. So
this is that kind of beer and pizza gaming that makes enemies of friends.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, whenever we do a show now, we actually add a disclaimer on the game description that Leda Entertainment is not responsible for any breakups of family, friendships, relationships. You know, you choose to sit in the seat and play. You know, our responsibility ends from the moment you sit down.
Yeah. That's it. So, I interrupted there. More about the mechanic that.
Yeah. So basically, the goal, as with any good pilot, is you're trying to collect the most treasure possible, and this involves smashing open chests and grabbing the treasure, or if you're playing one of the boss battles, the boss is something of a treasure pinata, you know, you keep on whacking him and it'll spill lots of treasure. So if you've got one person who's sort of like sweeping up all the treasure, then yes, you can cut them down, and that then turns them into their ghost form. They can't collect treasure until they respawn. However, if all the characters are in ghost form at the same time, everyone's dead, then the game ends and there's no winner. So you've got to balance that kind of.
How long do I let him steal the money for till my mate respawns and we can both do him in together?
Yeah, or more a case of if you've got sort of like a whole bunch of enemies closing in on you, maybe it's best to forget about going after treasure and that sort of thing, or killing your mates, because if you don't work together to take this lot down, you'll end up killing each other, and then the last guy will be left with almost 0 health, splat, game over. Yeah. As we've seen a couple of times today.
So I quite like the idea of, you know, you're all out for yourself, be selfish to get more treasure, but you're kind of forced to work together at times?
Yes, yeah, I mean, it's typical pirate crew, isn't it? You know, work together to take on the common foe and then squabble over the treasure.
And stab each other in the back
Exactly.
Yeah. And you said you've made a lot of changes. It's not just the content, like the look of it is a lot more detailed and sharper now.
Well, we got a couple of new guys on board. So obviously Matthew, the character artist, is still very much taking the lead on the player characters. Although we've had some input from another member of the team who's now sort of like shifted more into the design of the monsters and the bosses. So that great big undead parrot you saw was one of his opening gambits. And that was actually a breath of fresh air, because that took us away from just cows.
Well, this is the thing we were talking earlier, and it's what I love about the creative process is where the game seems to, the last couple of years, just grown organically, like taking its own form. You've got an undead parrot with a cannon under its wing.
Yep.
You've got a New Orleans Bayou drag queen alligator.
That's not quite plugged in yet.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
it's coming.
it's coming. But yeah, it's kind of taken on this, it was just about cars, you were mentioning hell pigs and.
Yeah, well, it just kind of grew based off of the new guys coming in, because I mean, we're always working as a collective. There's, I may be kind of like team coordinator, but it is kind of like an among equals role. That's the way we try and run it. And similarly, these shows, you know, the reason why we get everything as production looking as possible is that then we can get audience feedback, and the amount of things like, for example, the characters will all have special moves, where, as well as sort of like the basic bull rush charge special move that they all get, being cows and bulls, obviously. They're all going to get their own signature move, like Silverside's being sort of like the big bombastic arrogant one. He's got sort of like a Zorro type slash thrust, and Bovie is going to have sort of like a spinning slashing move, and Daishi being she's based on sort of like I can't remember the woman's name, but she's the most successful pirate ever, the only pirate to ever retired, Chinese woman, and you know, so we're seeing as she's Chinese themed, we're going to probably have some kind of martial arts slash dragon slash chi type feel to her.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
And again, I'm quite balanced, so it becomes just your favourite rather than...
Oh, the balance.
Yeah, the balance is a word every developer loves to hear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, because obviously last time you saw it, it was just 4 Silversides. And so
it was just for the same character, it's fine.
So Bovie is a very fast-moving character, for example, but his attacks, well, it builds up over time. So the first sort of couple of slashes are quite weak, and then it builds up to a crescendo. Daishi is more of an all-rounder. She's, you know, she hits a bit softer than Silverside. Can't take so much damage, but she moves a bit faster.
Silverside puts in the big damage, but
mid-range damage and slow moving, but you can take a licks. You know.
Tanking it.
The next characters we've got going in, we've got Cannonball, who's going to be using an entire ship's cannon as a bludgeon weapon.
Nice!
Yeah. Well, the idea is he sort of like swings it backwards and forwards, and then on the back swing, you can then fire it point blank. So it looks like a melee.
I think I might have my favourite.
Yeah. I mean, that basically is going to take advantage of sort of like the knockback feature that we've got, which is currently only used in the bull rush move. And you know, that's going to send characters flying. And similarly, we've got another character, Mince Macy, the cabin boy, who, if we can get around a couple of technical issues, will have this huge mallet that's about the same size as him. And he's kind of like the glass cannon, so he hits like a sledgehammer but can't take his damage.
Yeah. This is also quite fun, but like over the top, but just by the right amount.
Again, balance.
But we were talking as well, saying we've got 4 different islands, but they all have different environmental features.
There'll be 6 when we get there.
Right.
3 of them we've got in sort of like a basic mode. So all of them again sort of like named based on sort of like meat puns or whatever. So Gutan Sands, I think Gutan is a Japanese cut of beef or something like that. Salty Swamp, Ragu Ruins. Next one going in is Chili Con Carnage, which is going to be volcano themed. We're looking at possibly an ice type level, so you're going to be sliding around a bit on that. Maybe an underwater one, which will be the same sort of mechanic, but you have to periodically find a bubble and breathe, a la Sonic, you know.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
It's everything to play for, you know. It's just so many ideas on the table. We're having trouble picking the ones to go in, otherwise we'll be on this forever.
Well, I'm going to say, it sounds like there's a lot to still go into it. So how far are you away from completing it?
I'd like to say that we're probably about 18 months to 2 years away, because we're still working on our own time and all that kind of thing. We've kind of got sort of like a 6-month period coming up, ending at about February time, at which point we're kind of going to be putting a go-no-go state on our projected release date, or whether we need to push that back or have a bit of a rethink. But yeah, the prospective release date at the moment is September 19th, 2021. September 19th being International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And what are you looking to launch on?
Well, I mean, that is the question. So far, Switch has been very much a favourite, because Nintendo have such a history of the multiplayer type local games.
Yeah, and it's a good indie market as well. And it seems something you could pick a couple of Joy-Cons up and a couple of Switches together and off you go. Yeah.
PS4 has been the crowd's favourite, you know, from these shows. You know, we ask what people play on those sort of things. PS4. Xbox One is again a very strong contender, because we've done some previous titles on Xbox 360. But with the recent announcement by Steam that all local multiplayer games are now going to effectively network multiplayer games because of their new hardware, new technology, you know, that potentially opens a complete new door for us.
Yeah, it's a complete new option, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And There's no, keep it open for as many people as
Yes, I
possible.
mean, there's not saying you have to only go on one, I'm going on all of them.
Exactly.
It's just the time and the effort it takes to do it.
Admin.
Another thing I want to ask, because I absolutely love the creative process, and I know I'm guilty of this a lot. So you've got all this new content, all these new ideas. At what point do you have to just go, right, that's it, no new ideas, this is what we're making? Because I know I've done it myself, I've had projects where keep buying a bit and add a little bit more, and a little bit, and you never actually move anywhere with a project, you can add too much to it.
We're now kind of locking things down a bit more. So we know that we are going to have this many islands, this many characters, these are their themes and their ideas, these are the special features we want to build, and then we're kind of setting ourselves stretch goals if we get that far, because in this day and age of digital downloads, there is nothing to say that we can't then put an expansion on it 6 months later.
There's not, yeah.
So, everything to play for.
And for those that are interested and have just found out now, where can they find you online, where can they follow Bullion?
So the website is www.bulliongame.com, and then there's links on there to Facebook, Instagram. There's a YouTube channel now with all the gameplay videos and turnarounds and animation tests. There's a dev blog, Twitter, all the usual stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll link all that in the description below as well. It's brilliant to see how much it's come on. From the first time I saw it in Manchester to seeing it today, it looks more or less a different game.
It's taken a few changes, yes. We now have a much better idea of where we're going with it, put it that way.
Yeah. I can't wait, I'm going to follow this a little bit more. I'm going to follow it all the way to release and after. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, well, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.
You take care, thanks for your time.
Thanks.
We'll put all those links in there in the description. Make sure you check out bullionthegame.com. And yeah, until next time, guys, take care.
Thanks a lot.